We are live. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Mejia, at-large city councilor, and this is our weekly mental wellness check-in. We're really excited. We're transitioning our space and really creating a space that is youth-led. So we're really excited to step to the side and let young people lead. And with that said, I am going to do just that by introducing Naesoj, our youth liaison, and the mastermind behind this this weekly mental wellness check-in. It was her idea. Well, she inspired it, and Dr. Gayl answered the call by creating a space for young people. So here we are. I'm going to kick it over to Naesoj so that she can get us going.
Hi, thank you, Counselor. I'm Naesoj, Julia Mejia, City Councilor at-large Youth Liaison. I'm happy to be here co-hosting with Dr. Gayl. So yeah, we're basically just here to give youth a space to tell us how they're feeling during this pandemic and how we can fix the engagement with youth in Boston. Dr. Gayl, we'll go to you.
Thank you, Naesoj. Again, welcome everyone. It's so great to have you guys join us again this week on our weekly youth mental health check-in. This week, Naesoj is in charge and she is going to be leading us in this discussion. And it's so great to see so many young people. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Gayl Crump-Swaby. I am a mental health clinician in the Boston area, primarily in Dorchester, and also an associate professor. And we provide mental health treatment primarily to families and children and individuals of color. So again, welcome, and we're glad to have you here. And I'm going to turn it right back over to our young people.
Hi. Okay, so we're just going to have everybody introduce themselves. I'm just going to go by how I see you guys on my screen. So we're going to have Gigi go first. So you can just say your name, pronouns, and what school you go to, and what neighborhood you reside in.
I'm Gigi. I go to Boston Day and Evening, and I'm she, her pronouns, and I live in Hyde Park.
Thank you, Gigi. We'll go to Louis.
Hi, my name is Louis. I go to Boston Day and Evening Academy. I'm from Dorchester, and my pronouns is he, his, and him.
Thank you, Louis. Next, we'll go to Maria.
My name is Maria. I go to Cristo Rey Boston. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I live in Grove Hall.
Thank you. I'm sorry, can you repeat your name, please?
My name was Maria.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was saying it right. Okay, Kysso.
My name is Kysso. I go to BACC. I'm from Mattapan, and my pronouns are he, his, and him.
And next, Miss Nieisha.
Hello, my name is Nieisha Deed, and I am a mental health advocate and founder of Pure Spark for Mental Health. I am also a public speaker that speaks about my own past with mental health issues and depression and suicidal ideations and attempts.
Thank you. So the first question I just want to ask the youth that are here is, how have you personally been affected or impacted by this pandemic? And you guys could just start. I don't want to call in anyone. I want it to just flow.
I'd say this pandemic hasn't really been like the negative effect that like the normal people have been having. Like it hasn't really been like, it hasn't been putting a negative effect on me. Like I've been able to really catch up on my schoolwork and just really be able, because I was behind before this pandemic started. So like with the corona stuff going on, everybody's in the house and stuff like that. It's like I get a chance to like communicate with my teachers more frequently, and like I get a chance to just build more relationships with my teachers, with my students, and not my students, but my classmates and stuff like that, and just be more engage with each other. It brings more of a sense of a community. But the negative effects, I feel as though that, like, I'm not able to go outside as much. If I want to go outside, like, I have precautions of like, oh, should I go outside right now? Is there a lot of people around? Should I go to the store and stuff like that? Just my daily activities that I usually do day to day. So it just puts a hold on that. But like my education and my learning ability, I feel like it's enhanced during this pandemic.
Anyone else? No. Okay, guys. I guess my next question would just be, as a young person, I'm glad Louis brought up school. As a young person, how do you think school is affecting you right now? Or how do you think not being able to have hands-on or in-person learning is affecting how you're doing in school?
I would like to answer that. For me, I feel like the online school is better for me personally because I don't like big classrooms. And the kids at my school are very loud and I don't get to learn as much. And the teacher's always like stopping the lesson to quiet like those group of kids. So the online class is like nicer because it kind of feels like one-on-one, even though there's a lot of kids in there, like nobody's talking. So I learn better and I do all my work. And it's like I could do it today, like after classes, or I could like do it tomorrow. And it's like it wouldn't really matter as long as like I get it in.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, I was just asking how you, as a young person, how has being in school
It kind of broke up on my screen. Can you say that last part one more time?
Yeah, so how has not having in-person learning or hands-on learning affected you?
Oh, okay.
But Maria, to your point, I noticed you said like you're not usually able to pay attention in class, but now that this pandemic has happened, it's kind of helped you like be able to pay attention. Do you think that the people that usually would like serve as a distraction, do you think that they're feeling the same way as you, like, or do you think that they've tried to find any way to cause a distraction? Because I know in many of our schools we've had like problems on Zoom calls and stuff. I know many schools have shut down Zoom calls because of the distractions. So like how has that affected you in any way?
No, like for my school, like the loud kids that are like always doing the distractions, I feel like they just go on like Zoom or like the meeting just for attendance, and they just like go to sleep like as the call is going, like nobody's talking, like nobody answers the teacher except for that one kid, but like they're not really doing anything.
So what I'm hearing is, you can go on, Louis.
I feel as though that like some people aren't taking the full advantage of the they're not taking full advantage of the opportunity that's given to them. Like I'm in class most of the time. Like I appear in my MPDC meetings, I appear in school, and I appear to all my classes, and it's like it's me and two other kids, and then the rest of the kids, they're using this as like a break. And I think that's like they think it's a break, but like when school comes back in service, people are gonna look at those same kids like, what was you doing this whole time? Like you was home all this time, and you're at the same place that you were from when we left, and that was 3 months ago. So I feel as though that more discipline is gonna go on after this is over, like with how that process is going.
Yeah, and Louis, I have a question. So what do you think, as a community, how do we differentiate those who aren't able to do the work and those who are just choosing not to do the work?
What do you mean? How do you differentiate? Like,
because there are students that are truly not able to do the work during this time, and there are students that are choosing not to do the work. And we don't want to put them in the same category because I just personally think that's not fair to the kids that want to do the work but can't. So how do you think when we do eventually go back to school, how do we separate?
I feel as though that like they should start right now. It doesn't start when you get to school. It starts as of right now. If you feel like you're falling behind, you need to take that responsibility for yourself and like put your pants on and just be able to communicate with your teachers and be able to communicate and just get everything situated. And even if you are going through a rough time at home or something like that and you're not able to complete the work, at least communicate that. But if you're not communicating and you're just slacking off, you're sleeping more than you're supposed to, and you're treating this like a vacation, then it's only going to hurt you in the long run. So when you go back to school, they're going to look at you like the teachers are going to be able to see who is really like communicating with me, who is really trying to get their stuff together, and who is really just slacking off and just doing them.
So as young people, guys, how do you think our peers and stuff are disconnected? Like, why are they disconnected? And what do you think they're struggling with during this time? We can hear from Kysso or Gigi.
I feel like one of the reasons most kids are disconnected is because we're at home. And when you're at home, you're surrounded by an environment you're so accustomed with. You're surrounded by your TV, you have your phone, you have all things that make you feel like you're not in school. So yeah, that's really a big distraction that kids suffer with, because they feel so comfortable with them being, and they're not really paying attention to school.
Do you think that there's anything that like educators or parents can do to change that?
You could push them, but at the end of the day, it all depends on the person. It all depends on the individual to really stand up and take acknowledgement of themselves. And just as Luis was saying, just communicate and do what you got to do to succeed.
So I don't know if you guys.
I feel as though that like people just need to throw, like, even if you're in school, not in school, like, even though all of those stuff is around you, like all your phones and TV and laptop and stuff like that, even though all that stuff's around you, it's like you got to create that self-discipline within yourself and just put a hour or two into learning something new every day. Like start reading a book every day, just so you can progress and not let your mind be at a relaxed state thinking that everything's okay like when this thing is over. Because again, once this is over, you're gonna have to be at that wavelength that you're supposed to be on right now.
Louis, I just want to ask you, because you're one of the young people on this call that feel as though you've been able to do better during this pandemic. How do you think that we can get, like, what's been helping you? Who have you been talking to? How can we help other young people get to the place that you're at now?
I feel as though like it's just seeing the end of the road. Like you have to see what specific things you really want to do and like see that end game, and then produce step by step how you're going to complete it. Say you want to graduate high school, something like that. Just as an example, say you want to graduate high school. How do I want to graduate high school? I got to do my classes. What time do I got to wake up to get to those classes? Oh, I got to wake up at 10 o'clock. How long do I got to stay in them classes? Just creating that step by step process into getting that final goal. And then I feel as though if you see the end of the road, then it's going to be easier for you to accomplish what you need to accomplish.
I really agree. I want to pull Gigi into the conversation a little bit. How have you been coping with this pandemic, and who do you personally feel like you're able to talk to during this time?
During this pandemic, it's very hard, because it was hard without the pandemic, for me at least. I know people who also have like mental health is really hard for them as well. So that's something that's been hard for me, like my mental health. I've been communicating with my teachers as well. They're like they're people that they are people that uplift me when I don't have like the uplifting myself. So yeah, that's.
And how do you think like the home lives of ourselves and our peers are kind of affecting the way we're able to be engaged in school?
I feel like people, well, me as a person speaking, I feel like it's affected us because school was something like we leave home and stuff like that. Like now we're home, and yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand. I know for me, school is kind of like a way for me and my mom to take a break because me and my mom do get into it a lot. So now I know with like, and this is the problem for a lot of kids, but with everybody home now, you're just going back and forth with your parents, and it may be really hard because for a lot of people, school was that outlet. So I guess my next question would just be, as a community or people like adults in authority, how do you think adults or educators can help students that are in that situation right now?
I feel as though that what they can do is just try to organize groups to like just get together and just be able to talk to the kids that we're usually used to seeing every day. So like, because sometimes the kids don't want to organize that, or like they feel like, oh, they'll think they're corny for trying to organize something like that. But like once a week check-in, that's what we do at MPDC. We do a check-in every Wednesday, and Jeannie, the advisor of the youth, organizes a meeting for like all the youth to just get on the call. She'll organize these karaoke night events. She'll organize these sneaker competitions, and it's just a way for us to like still get our brains flowing and just giving us a chance to have a good time.
Yeah. And so what about, how do we pull those students in that don't have those opportunities and that don't have those programs that do that for them? Like what kind of things can we create for them? Anybody can. Louis, you can take that if you want.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, my question is basically just, so you have MPDC as one of those places that offers those opportunities, but what are we doing? What do we do for those young people that don't have programs like that?
I feel as though that everybody has social media and everybody has like PlayStation and everybody has something in order to communicate. Everybody has phones and stuff like that. I feel as though that people should just organize a group chat to like just talk and engage with each other. It doesn't have to be school related, or can be school related, or it can just something that involves everybody, and just being able to pass that around into the next person, add more people in, people from different groups and stuff like that, and just include everybody. Everybody's going through the same situation right now, so everybody knows what everybody's going through. So if you see somebody that's alone and not doing a lot of stuff and is really antisocial, you should go out of your way and just try to make that effort.
Thank you. And I wanna ask Maria a question now, based off of what Louis just said. I know you mentioned earlier that you're one of the few people that actually don't mind being home because you like being in a space alone. You feel like you're able to learn a lot better. How would you feel about being a part of those groups? How do we pull the people in that have the same exact mindset as you, that kind of want to be separated? Like, how do we pull you into a group?
I feel like maybe like if anybody knows somebody like me that doesn't like doing anything, reach out to them and see what they like, and maybe talk to them and ask them if they're willing to like do anything, like go on live, do like a Zoom call with other people. I think it's just like we just have to keep reaching out to people, and maybe those people will want to reach back out, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I know as a young person, sometimes we're often told like to come into adult space. What do you think that adults can do better in our community to make sure that they're coming to our space?
I feel like adults should take the time to really sit down and talk to their kids or like young people, and actually like have a one-on-one conversation and not like trying to gang up on them, because a lot of parents will do that, but it's like around this time you're home 24/7 with your child, so maybe start off slow, like have a movie night and then get to know your child better, and just like maybe if like they do that, they tell their friends, maybe more people will do it too.
I agree with that statement right there. And an example I like to use is like my mom and my brother, they live in the same house, because I'm not with them at the moment, but like they live in the same house, but it's like they're separate at the same time. Like my mom is more in her room watching her movies, watching her reality TV shows, and my brother is more in his room playing PlayStation and just in the room with his friends. Even though like it's good to communicate with other people and just disconnect and be able to do your own independent stuff, sometimes that's not really that healthy. Like when I go over there sometimes, like I see them and I'm like, I see both doors open and I'm like, this is how you guys normally do this, even if the pandemic was here or not. So like just getting a chance to really get to further that relationship and just further that bond with mother and son is, I think that's very important. Because like you don't want your child to grow up to be like, oh yeah, that's my mom, she did all this stuff for me, yeah, she was a good person, but like for you not to be able to build that like emotional attachment, I feel like that's really important in the youth.
Yeah, I kind of want to, at that, based off of what Louis Maria just told me, I kind of want to pull Dr. Gayl into the conversation, if you don't mind, because I know you specialize in these kind of relationships. How do you think parents can do a better job of reaching out to their kids and becoming and bonding that relationship?
Excellent question. So I have two teenagers at home too, right? And one of the challenges is that it's really getting to know your young person, your teenager, and understanding, in what ways do they like to engage. So, like I said, I have two teenagers at home. One seems to engage a little bit more than the other. So I know when I need to do something different with each one of them. So what parents can do is really check in with their teen and say, in what ways can I be helpful? In what ways can we do something different today? What are some things we can do differently? And let the teenager participate in some of the planning. Sometimes as parents, we have this thing, what we call adultism, and we want our young people to feel like I'm in charge and I say this and we should do it this way. But sometimes it's really important to have them participate in how some of the things should go and how some of the things should happen and how they should engage. Because yes, there are times when teenagers just want to be by themselves. They don't want anyone to bug them. My son gets that way. And sometimes I'm knocking on his door and he's like, Mom, why are you bothering me? Kind of thing. And I said, hey, I'm checking to see if everything is okay and that kind of stuff. And then sometimes he just comes by and he chats with me for maybe 5-10 minutes and we have a really great conversation and then he's off to something else. So it's giving them space and yet at the same time letting them know that you are available. So the challenge is that if you have never done that before, then it becomes even more difficult to do it. But it doesn't mean that you can't at least try to actually engage them. And sometimes it's difficult for the teen and sometimes it's difficult for the adult, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen. Find that one thing in common that you guys like. There were times when I played a PlayStation game with my son and I didn't know what I was doing and he laughed all the way because I didn't know, what buttons to push and all that kinds of stuff. But hey, it was an opportunity for me to engage with him, right? So sometimes we don't want to be engaged with what our teenagers like, but sometimes just sit as parents, just sit and, listen and pay attention to what they're doing and no judgment at all. And that's hard as parents to not have judgment, but it's really important to not have any judgment and just observe and be curious and ask questions, but not in a judgmental kind of way.
And I want to ask this question to the young people. Of course, we need our parents there. We want our parents there. But let me see. It's like, how do we tell our parents when to be there? Like, because I know sometimes we also want to be alone. So when do you think is a good time for your parents to know, like, okay, this is when I need you here, and this is kind of when I want you to like back off a little bit?
I feel as though it's like the parent got to do it regardless if you want it or not. You feel me? Like love is love. There's no limit on, oh, I should love you right now and oh, I shouldn't. I loved you too much. Like you feel me? Like that's what the kid is gonna remember growing up. Like, oh, my mom, even though I was aggravated in the moment of what I was doing specifically, like she did it out of love, and it wasn't because she she was annoying at the time, but like the saying that my grandmother always says to me, you don't know what you have until it's gone. You feel me? So like appreciate the small things and just know that they're not doing it to be a hole. You feel me? Like they're doing it out of love. Sometimes you feel me, like y'all fight and y'all clash and you guys aren't at the same wavelength, but everything is done out of love because they had the experience that you had at this age.
Can I ask
I
a question, Naesoj?
Yes, of course.
I have to get your permission. So just curiosity. So Lewis, you made some excellent points because, like you said, I nag. My son says that I nag him all the time, right? And so what do you do, or what do you say to those parents who have never done it before, who don't know how to communicate? And I'm not just asking it to you, Lewis, but to anyone else. You know, what do you say to those parents or those children who don't have a great relationship with their parents, but they do live in the same house? What do you suggest or recommend that parents should do or teens should do as a way to help build that relationship, or is that relationship not salvageable, right?
I feel as though that what's most important is not to try to treat them like a friend, but still have that discipline and have that responsible role. Don't let them walk over you just because, oh yeah, my mom's cool now, so blah blah. So like, don't feed into that. Like, you still got to know your role as a parent. But I feel as though that there's two parts. There's the parentism, and then there's a friendly thing. But you have to let the parentism like come into play more often than the friendliness.
I just wanted to kind of shift the conversation a little bit because I know this is also a big thing with us young people. But how do you think social media has impacted the way we feel during this pandemic? If you don't mind, I just kind of want to go to Kysso, Gigi, pull you guys in a little bit.
I think social media has. Sorry, can you say the question again?
Yeah, I was just saying, like, how do you think social media has impacted the way young people feel during this pandemic?
Personally, what I see on social media is like a lot of people like take things as a joke, kind of like they just share stuff to like joke around stuff and joke on stuff. I feel like that's a way of their like coping around in this like pandemic, just joking around and stuff. But yeah, it's not negative or anything. Or like sometimes social media does take a negative impact on people because drama and stuff like that. But yeah.
And I'm glad you spoke about drama. Do you think that during this pandemic is like the drama has like increased or decreased in any kind of way?
I personally haven't really seen drama a lot like that. For me, like I like remove it if I do. I don't really like feed into it.
I feel like social media is always going to be social media regardless. Like, there's always going to be some real information. There's always going to be some fake information. There's always going to be some gossip. There's always going to be like that. That's what they're for. Like, sometimes you can use it for a different tool, as in like marketing, or like use it in that sense. But like, other than that, like other than if it's not for business, I feel like it's always going to be whatever it is. Whatever is the hot topic, people are going to talk about it. People are going to make memes about it. People are going to make serious documentaries. People's gonna do whatever they want to do, because like that's just that's not the real deal. That's just somewhere you can go to like run to go do something else and just unplug yourself from what's really going on.
Yeah. So while we're on this topic, I know Counselor, you're a mom and you're on social media and everything. So how has this pandemic either like affected you and your daughter's relationship in any kind of way? You're on mute, Counselor.
I'm trying to be quiet. I have to mute myself in order for me to participate in being quiet. No, Naesoj, thank you for bringing me in. So I have to say is that I live on my phone, right? Right now, I use social media as a way to keep everyone informed about what our office is doing. I'm connected 24/7. And I know that my daughter's 10 years old, but she already is telling me to put my phone down when I'm talking to her. She wants my undivided attention. And because I'm working from home, it's really hard for me to balance work and home and not give her the time she deserves. And I worry that as a parent, I'm making her feel some kind of way, like she's not important. So I have a lot of guilt, to be honest with you. I'm carrying a lot of guilt about how what I'm doing in front of her is making her feel about herself. So that weighs heavy on me. And I worry about her self-esteem. And then I'm also using TikTok. I don't know if y'all know, I'm a TikTok sensation now. I've been doing TikTok dance videos as a way for me to connect with my daughter, which is weird, right? So social media keeps me away from her, but then TikTok is the one thing that we've been using to stay connected and to do things together. So social media plays a good role in our house and a bad role, both. But I worry about her because she's always in these little Google chat rooms. And the things that I've been hearing these kids talk about at 10 years old and some nasty stuff, the words that I would never, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe my 10-year-old was exposed to that type of language. And I'm worried about how social media is being used to accelerate and get rid of the innocence that exists. And bullying, a lot of bullying. I see a lot of bullying happening with social media too. But yeah, that's what I wanted to just share about that.
Thank you, Counselor Kysso. I want to go to you on that position. Do you ever see bullying happening on social media, or do you feel like this pandemic has like worsened the conditions of bullying and stuff?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I always see bullying happening. It's something that happens every day. Whether it's somebody making fun of somebody's way or how somebody looks, parents, whatever the case may be, there's always some form or type of bullying on the internet. As far as has it worsened during this pandemic, I don't know, particularly because I don't really feed into that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm not gonna say that it stopped because it's something that goes on every day and people suffer from it online. So yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that a lot of you were just kind of like, I don't feed into that kind of stuff. I'm wondering how we get more of our young people to do the same exact thing. Like when they feel like they're about to get in drama or when they feel like they're getting bullied, how do we pull our young people away from those kind of conflicts?
By just getting off of social media all in one, like unless you're using it for like business, like you're supposed to be doing, like you getting on there is like you're looking for a certain amount of attention, and you looking for that attention, you're gonna get it whether it's positive or negative. So I feel like you should just stay off it all in one if you don't want those problems.
And so I guess a question I have to your point about wanting attention is, if our young people are going to social media for attention, how do we replace that? How do we give them that attention that they're seeking on social media? Kysso, did you want to speak or?
Towards the other question, but yeah, I was gonna say the other question was it's just having self-control. Basically, do not stoop down to that level of if somebody says something to you, do not let it hold a certain weight on you, because only at the end of the day, only you know yourself. If I say something to you, and if it's not true, don't let it hold an effect on you, because at the end of the day, only you know yourself better than anybody else. So love yourself. Don't let anybody else tear that love down from you. Yeah.
And do you guys think that there's any kind of like outlets or activities that the youth can engage in more to kind of keep them away from social media in conflict and drama? And are there any outlets that you personally use that you have found helpful?
I feel as though you just have to substitute the stuff that you're doing like that's not productive and turn it into something that into a learning time. Like all the time you spend on social media and stuff like that, you can use that time to go learn how to ride a bike if you don't know how to ride a bike, learn a new hobby, learn a new skill, learn something new. Like don't let this pandemic ruin what could be going on. This is a break that you have. So like make sure that you use your break to the best of your ability and not just waste it on social media. Because social media, you're not really gaining nothing. You're just gaining likes and followers and stuff like that.
And another question I have is, how do you feel that generations have kind of changed like on social media? Why do you think it is that our generation uses social media as their outlet to voice their opinion so much, and to go there to create conflict and stuff? Do you think it's because that there's nowhere else or not another place that they can do that?
I feel as though that the younger generation is just materialistic in a way. Like it's been programmed into us to think that everybody owes us the world when that's not really the case. And like our parents, and that's what I meant earlier about like being more of a mother figure rather than a friend. Because like you being a friend to this generation, like our generation is because our parents is more friend to us than adults in us. Like my grandmother, I look at her more as a mother figure than my mother, just because like she gave me the discipline that was needed. She gave my mother discipline, but like I just feel like something went down, like something went wrong through like we just crave material stuff. Like I baby pictures, I look at my baby pictures and like I have the new Jordans or something like that, and just like I always have nice clothes and I always this that. So like the more I grow up wanting that more and more. And like when I go around searching for that type of stuff, if I don't have that, I feel incomplete, and I feel like something's missing from me because that was programmed from when I was younger to now.
Maria, do you think that what Lewis is saying, like, do you think our generation feeds on these things like materials and social media because we feel incomplete without them?
I do agree to, like, everybody's different, but like I agree, because I feel like sometimes parents are like adults. Like maybe the way they were growing up is different, and like their adults didn't care as much or they cared too much. So that changed them to when they grew up. So now when they have kids, they treat their kids differently from the way they grew up, or they treat them the same. And sometimes kids
So
don't,
are you
like, I feel like kids don't, like,
are you
nowadays don't know how to like express their feelings, so they just go to social media because it's just there.
and are you kind of saying that like that young people nowadays, we don't really have our parents to go to, so that's why we turn to social media and
Yeah.
other things? Do you agree, Gigi, Kysso? That we kind of lost those adult interactions or parent interactions, so now our only choice is to go to places like social media?
To a certain extent.
Can you can expand on that? It's okay if you don't want to. You can tell me I'm pushing it.
Nah, that's cool. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm like. So I say to a certain extent because sometimes like our families doing the same thing. So like sometimes it's not just that we're on social media, but they are on as well more than we are sometimes. I mean, at least I think so because my family, like, yeah.
And
You
so
tend to you tend to reflect your actions like based on who you're around. So like if you're on social media and you want help and stuff like that, and like a whole bunch of people are around you and they're on social media, it's like you get sucked into that, and then like the older and older you get is like you got to stay there because nobody's around to like really help you get out of that situation and be there to like really speak to and learn how to have face-to-face interaction instead of texting and FaceTime and talking through computers.
So it's kind of almost like not only are we in this social media world, but our parents are too. So we just lost that connection between parents and children. So I think my one question would be, how do we educate teenagers, or how do we educate parents to kind of put their phones down and come together? Dr. Gayl, if you want to answer that, you could definitely.
Thank you, Naesoj. I think that's an excellent question in terms of how do you um, have parents get engaged. And I think Lewis made an excellent point in terms of, if children and teenagers see the adults doing something, then they tend to follow in that lead until somebody tells them to do something different. So then if you constantly see that, maybe you want your parents' attention and they're not giving you the attention because they're on social media, on their phone, or they're just always watching television, then you feel like, well, that's the way I should live. So, one of the things is that as parents, we might need to just stop and take a break and just look around and see, how much time am I spending on social media compared to how much time I'm giving attention to my children, and what it is that my children are trying to tell me, my teenagers are trying to tell me when I am not available to them, or when I can't pay attention to the fact that they need something, or they just not necessarily need something, but they need my attention. They need me to just sit and chat for a little bit. So it's really important for parents to just observe and pay attention to, the signs that their children are giving them. Sometimes your teenager might be a little sassy with you, and it's not because they want to be disrespectful. It could be because they're trying to say, I need you to sit and chat with me, or I need you to pay attention to some things that I'm doing, or I need to be able to have a conversation with you. So it's those subtle little things that parents need to pay attention to. So even find times within the day and say, and this was hard for me to do at one point. I tried to literally say no social, my kids are not on social media that much, but one of the things I would say to them is, okay, well, we're going to take a break from the television, we're going to take a break from this. And sometimes they get a little upset and a little angry about that, but it's how do you push them a little bit to see that it's not about these other external things. And it's hard, again, if parents haven't built up that relationship. Trying a number of things might be a little bit challenging, but I would say don't give up. Keep pushing at it.
And that's what I was telling my
And I think
mom.
what I want to ask the young people is, do you ever feel like there's a lack of understanding from a
Now you can finish. You can finish.
I was just asking, like, do you ever feel like there's a lack of understanding from adults to young people?
Yeah, a big misconception. Like, well, I mean, adults know, like, it's been through your shoes and like know what's supposed to be going on, and like sometimes they could predict like what you're gonna do and like how you're gonna do it. So it's like it's just a matter of finding that adult who's actually gonna do that for you. Like if you see an adult that's like not doing nothing and then like they try to give you advice, is like, why am I gonna listen to that type of person if like they're not even guiding me in the right direction in a way? But like if you have somebody that's doing something and just like learning and growing, like that's who you'd want to be around, and that's who you'd want to like dedicate your focus towards. But like if you don't see your parents doing anything, if you don't see the people around you doing anything, it's like you're gonna stay exactly where they are because you're gonna follow into their footsteps and they'll lead you off the ledge.
And so do you think like that young people are feeling neglected during this time? And that's for all the young people here. Maria, did you want to answer? I don't know if I can.
I'll answer that. I feel like some are. So I remember like a month ago, my friend was going through some stuff and she like posted it on social media instead of going to her parents. And like she lives down the street from me. So like our whole friend group had to be the one to like help her through it instead of like her family and her parents because they're so close minded with like with what kids are going through nowadays with like depression, anxiety, and all those different things.
And how do you feel like when you say like they're so close-minded when it comes to what kind of stuff we're going through, do you think it's because they don't believe that we're going through it, or just because they don't understand why we're going through
it? I feel like they don't know how to help because they probably went through it when they were younger and they didn't get the support they needed. So like nobody was there for them. So they're just like closed off and they don't know how to help their kids. And other parents are like, no, it's not real. And they're just being rude about it.
And so I guess my question for you would be, how do you think as a community, or like for the adults in power, what kind of resources can we offer those teens that don't get the support?
We could do like more calls like this on like different platforms, or some adults could just talk to parents, like not call them, but like do like a live and just explain like these are things that kids are going through, these are things that you could do as an adult, just like inform the public from like both parents and like kids.
Thank you, Maria. Kysso, I guess I also want to come to you about it too. Do you feel like there's a lack of understanding between adults and young people?
Yeah, to some extent, because Maria already said it, there's certain times like where they haven't walked in that shoe, and you might be going through it. So because they haven't gone through it, they don't know how to help you again. They don't know what you're going through. They might not take it as serious. I have a friend of mine who she suffers from depression and anxiety, and there's certain things that her parents do, and like they take it as a joke basically, and she suffers through it a lot because she knows like because it messes with her a lot. But for them, they don't really take it that serious because they don't get why it's messing with her that much. Even though she expresses her opinion, again, it gets overlooked and they just end up ignoring it. So I don't know, I guess, but I don't want to put it just on the parents too. Young adults do got to be educated because there are parents who do go through stuff, and sometimes young adults do take advantage of it. So there's both sides to the equation. It's not just one side. Young adults do got to be educated on things that parents do go through too. Some people do tend to take advantage of the situation.
And Gigi, do you think like how have you personally been affected by like lack of understanding between adults and young people?
As a person that has like family members that are like very old school, it's very hard for me to have them understand where I'm coming from because like they're just really old school and it's just how they do it and there's no changing their way of their old school. So it's kind of hard like expressing my feelings or like talking to them or like sitting down and talking to them because that's just not um how they like cooperate sometimes.
And do you feel like sometimes you have to like keep that stuff to yourself? Like, and do you feel like that affects you as a person?
Yes, because it's like you turn into like such a closed off person because the people that you want to like open up to and speak to about stuff that you're going through just won't like sit down and see your point of view and things because of how they were raised and how they are, if that makes sense.
And I know, counselor, you've told us about a couple experiences in the past about you not really having like the support system that you thought you needed when you were younger. Can you tell us how that has affected you in your earlier life?
Yeah, so in one of the earlier segments, I talked about being a teen, and I attempted to take my life, and because I didn't feel that I really didn't want to be on this earth anymore. And my mom, who was undocumented for a period of time, she was really worried about taking me to the hospital. So what she made me do was she made me drink oil and milk at the same time so I can throw up, instead of taking me to the hospital, because she was afraid that if she took me to the hospital, they were going to know that I tried to commit suicide, and it was going to be more problems, quote unquote. So I grew up believing that my mom did not love me because she really didn't do anything other than just make me want to throw up. And I carried that for a long time in my heart. And it wasn't until much later in my life that I realized that my mom was just afraid. And that's why she didn't take me to the hospital. But I think that as parents, how our parents deal with trauma and deal with mental health, we carry it on and then we pass it on to our own children, right? So what I'm trying to do, hold on, something's going on with my phone. Because I'm going live too. But anyways, what I'm trying to do right now is making sure that my daughter, I don't pass on these bad habits to her, because it's important for my daughter to have healthy ways of dealing with her stuff. So I'm hoping that as a parent, I'm not passing on my own trauma to my daughter just based on my own personal experiences. So it's hard, y'all. It's hard. And this is why I love this work, and this is why I'm so dedicated to young people, because it is not easy being young. It's not easy even being old either. We don't get better as we get older. We think that we get wiser, but we just carry more stuff. But yeah, that's been my experience with mental health as a kid, and how it shows up now for me as an adult.
Thank you, counselor. And I know you mentioned having better ways for our parents to be able to make sure that they're not passing the trauma that they face as kids onto their children. And I guess it's a question for the young people, but how do you think that our parents can receive help with their trauma so that they could better help us with ours?
I feel as though that they have to dig in the past and just figure out why they act in a certain way. Like from my mom, for an example, right? The way I treat my grandmother sometimes, like she gets jealous of that fact, and like when she gets jealous, like she gets mad at me for like treating my grandmother a certain way. So there's something that happened throughout her life that she felt like she was always in competition with somebody from a younger age, or whatever age it was, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But it's just like it brings forth now, and I tell her about it, and she's like and she denies the fact that that's really the thing. But like me and my grandmother see it, my uncle see it, like everybody sees it in her. But like sometimes you have to just take a step back, look at the action that you do, and just try to trace it back to where it all started. And after you see where it started, you try to figure out a solution and like realize that the past was the past, and just it's time to move on from that.
And I know, Kysso, you mentioned your friend having like depression and anxiety, and her parents not really understanding how to help her. How do you think they could have kind of like better handled that situation with your friend?
And basically, at the end of the day, it comes to communication. Is I don't know if it's lack of research, but I could see like I've seen her break down in front of them, and I've seen them in their face, not really, care as much. And it's really hard to answer that question because I've never been in that type of shoe to really put my position in it. But as a friend, I've always been one to look out for one. If you've been around me, if I see like you're in distress or anything like that, I try to talk to you, and that's the point. Just try to talk. As Louis said earlier, try to start like a simple conversation with anybody it is. if it's sitting next to you, if somebody looks sad or anything like that, just try to, oh, hello, how are you doing? How's your day been? You know, a smile. It could take you to certain places that you didn't think the person would need. So as a parent, I don't know, really just reach out. You got to understand, even though even you might not get it, go out your way and try to learn about your child. That's why this epidemic is so it's positive in some ways, because for the people in your household, you guys could really get to know each other and build a connection that you guys didn't have before.
You're on mute, Naesoj.
So sorry, I was on mute. No, I was saying we want to pull Miss Nieisha into the call now, as we know she has experience with mental health in young people. We can't see you, Miss Deed. Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm sorry about that. Wow, I have just been sitting here like with my mouth open, clapping. Like, this has been such a great conversation, and I don't think y'all realize how wise you are. You know, this is almost like having a little bit of a therapy session. Like the questions that you're asking, Naesoj, and the responses and the replies. I don't think y'all realize, but some of this, and Dr. Swaby, you can probably confirm this or reaffirm this, are things that, you know, are said and told and you know, talked about during an actual therapy session. So I want to applaud you guys and just let you guys know, as an adult, that I am really impressed, very much so impressed. And I think a couple of things came up that I want to reaffirm, about one, your environment, and how important your environment is to your mental health. And right now, you're stuck in an environment that may or may not be healthy. And I want to acknowledge that. And I want to acknowledge how that might be difficult for you, right? Being in an unhealthy environment where you might not have healthy relationships, you know? And I want to reaffirm that that can be difficult. But I also want to mention, you know, some of the work that I'm doing with Peer Spark, and our peer support groups. And this might be something that you guys can come to as youth, or something that, I don't know, maybe your parents might want to come to, and I don't know how you would interact and engage in that conversation. But it's just a space where you can vent, and talk about your emotions, pretty similar to what you're doing here. Except it's a little bit more tailored, where we do a check-in. You check in with your emotions, you say how you're feeling, no judgment, right? Because there's no need to judge your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings, and they are valid, okay? It's just how you react, you know, on them. That could be healthy or unhealthy, but your feelings are your feelings, and they're valid. And then we invite a professional, a doctor, a yogi, or somebody to give us some kind of technique that we can use and help us to cope, right? Because coping could be unhealthy or healthy, right? An unhealthy way to cope might be, you know, engaging in drinking alcohol or using some substances. A healthy way might be going outside for a run. So we talk about those different tools to kind of help people to process these unfavorable emotions. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad or good, they're feelings, they're emotions, but to help you process these emotions that you might be having. So I want to open it up and welcome anybody who is having a hard time. Please feel free to come join us every Wednesday night from 7 to 8:30. And you can find the link on our page, Peer Spark. But you guys, this right here, this is great.
I have a question for you. Thank you. But you had talked about earlier before we started rolling about I'm just curious about your own personal journey, and if you would like to share a little bit about your journey here to the space that you happen to be in now and the work that you do.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it short. But you guys already talked about how you believe your parents' past have an impact on not only them, but you and how they raise you. And I want to let you know that that is true. Okay. I came from a 2-family household. My mom was from the South. She was raised, in somewhat of poverty. So the thing that was important to her was to raise daughters. I'm one of 3, raise daughters who were financially free, raise daughters who had good jobs and they can take care of themselves. And, it was all about money, right? And we know that money is important because we need to survive, we need to pay our bills. But that was, for a large part of my life, the only thing that I ever focused on. Emotions, didn't feel them. Relationships, I had them, but it was like tunnel vision on, graduating and getting a good job so that I can to make money. Well, because of that, right? I'm not acknowledging my emotions. I'm not acknowledging when I'm sad, I'm hurt, I'm scared. All of those feelings just kept bottling up. And then due to the fact that, I am a child of Roxbury, right? Right here in Eggleston Square. I was working in a place where I didn't feel like I could show up as myself every day. I was working in corporate America, right? And when you think of corporate America, you don't think of this. You don't think of this, right? So I didn't show up to work like this. I showed up to work extremely different. So I'm not feeling my feelings. I'm not feeling like I can show up like myself every day. And because of that, I went into such a deep, deep, deep depression. And I missed all of the warning signs that relate to depression or mental illness. I wasn't sleeping. I was an insomniac for a whole entire year. No sleep, like maybe an hour. That was a good night, okay? I was hardly eating. So I'm 6'2", and right now I'm like 200 pounds, but when I wasn't eating, I went down to like 160. So I was like this, okay? I was isolating. I'm an extroverted person, so I wasn't talking to my friends. I wasn't reaching out. So if you think about all the parts of your life that's important, making sure that you get sleep, making sure that you, eat and have a healthy diet, and socializing, which is something that's on the brinks right now, socializing. If any of those areas, get affected negatively or unfavorably, they can impact your mental health, right? If you're not taking care of them. So, I fell into a very deep depression, was embarrassed because I didn't want anybody to know that I was having issues with my mental health. I didn't want to look weak, right? And my generation, I'm probably same generation as your parents, I don't know. But there's a huge stigma in our generation, older generation, as it relates to mental health. Now with you guys, I feel like now it's acceptable. People are talking about having anxiety. People are talking about having depression. I'm like, yay! I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have that. So I didn't talk about it, and now I won't shut up about it. Anybody that asks me, or whatever, I'm talking about it on podcasts, I'm talking about it on Facebook, I'm talking about it with friends, because I lost 4 family members to suicide, and I'll be damned if I lose another. And I also want to share suicide prevention. Oh God, is it backwards? This is a number that saved my life, you guys.
We can see it. We can see it good. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to share this number. If anyone is feeling suicidal, if you have family or friends that are feeling suicidal, or if you just want somebody to talk to that's going to listen, feel free to call this number. They're available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I want y'all to know that you guys are in a risk in a risk category. Okay, the CDC has released in 2017 that the number two killer or cause of death for people from 10 to 34 is suicide. Okay, so I want y'all to take this seriously. Okay, this isn't just a hot topic or whatever. This is serious. People are losing their lives because of mental illness. You know, so I'm super excited and happy that you guys are having this conversation. You guys are being so honest about your feelings, your emotions. Keep doing this, please, and invite your friends to come in.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nieisha, for your insight and your resources. I want to bring the youth back in, and I just want to kind of ask you, how do you feel that youth would be better if, for example, if we had those interactions and connections? Like, how do you think we can prevent our young people from getting to the point where Ms. Nieisha said she was depressed and not able to identify or express their emotions?
I think we can make people feel more belonging. We tend to make people feel like they shouldn't trust anyone. Maybe change that and change just making everybody feel like they have someone by their side that they can talk to, and someone they trust to prevent them from feeling a way that will make them prevent them from feeling like they're better off. Yeah. So having someone by your side, or just making sure the person that is important to you knows that they have you, and that no matter what, they can go to you.
Thank you so much, Ejai. I kind of want to speak to the point that you just made about making sure that they know that they have you as a person that they can talk to and resource. I recently came across a quote, and it said, I'd rather wake up and listen to you talk than attend your funeral. And for me, that hit because I'd rather listen to whatever you have to say than it be too late. And going off that point, we have a question from the live stream, and Ellis Taylor said, "How do you become more connected with your emotions and feelings during this time?" Anybody could take that, guys.
I'll put in my 2 cents. I think that this is a very uncomfortable space for a lot of people because you're taken out of your normal routine, whatever it is, whether it be going to work, going to school. You're not seeing your coworkers, you're not seeing your friends. So I think it's very important to acknowledge your feelings and whatever emotions that you're having. To maybe sit down with them and talk like what we're doing right now, because you're probably processing a lot of these emotions through this conversation. But if you like to journal and you like to write, let's say you're a person that doesn't like to talk to people, process them by journaling, I think is very helpful. If you're a person that enjoys movement, maybe putting on, some of your favorite songs, and dancing to them, singing a song, meditating, doing yoga. I think sometimes, especially in Western society, where capitalism is the way of the world here, we're so used to being productive all the time. I gotta get up and I gotta do this and I gotta do this. And we're not used to just being still and in the moment. But that's where you're gonna find the most peace. Is like right here, right now. So going outside, looking around, those are some helpful things.
Miss Nieisha kind of just answered it, but another question for the youth is, what are some coping mechanisms that you guys have? Did you?
Some coping mechanisms I have is writing. I write a lot, and I listen to music. I listen to music that like relates to myself and like what I'm going through, just to not feel alone, and just to know like someone who is like making your feelings, or yeah, making your feelings. I also paint, and I watch a lot of Netflix. I binge watch. I just finished the last season of Grey's Anatomy, and yeah.
That's a long show. Louis, are you gonna answer?
I feel like me a couple ways I'll be coping with it is the same thing that Gigi was saying. It's like you gotta just listen to music that just relate to you in a way. It don't always gotta be sad and stuff like that. It don't like this ain't a depressing time. Like this ain't a time where you like, oh man, everything's going like that. It's you shouldn't treat it like that. It's just however you're feeling in the moment, and writing too, you feel me, like a paragraph a day. Like my teacher used to give us these little scripts during beginning of class, and it'd be like random questions like, oh, if you were a superhero, what would you do and why? Like just like silly questions like that, you feel me, just get your imagination flowing and stuff like that, and just doing what you like to do. If you like to take pictures, go out there and just take a walk and go take some pictures. If you like art, grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab paper, just find a new hobby. This is the time where you find that new hobby and you just do that.
Thank you. Maria, did you want to answer that?
No.
No? Okay. Kysso, did you want to answer that?
All set.
So sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm curious for Kysso and Maria. I know you probably didn't want to answer that specific question. There's another question that was asked on Facebook. Maybe I can throw that one at y'all. Maybe you can answer this one. It says, why do you think teens constantly bottle up their emotions? What would teens wish their parents or friends can do to help with this? Does talking about things personally make you feel better or worse, or it doesn't? Any of those. Why do you think teens constantly bottle up their emotions? Maria.
It has to do with like people around them. Like if you go to somebody to vent out your feelings and they're acting different, like they're not listening, they're kind of like standoffish, or they're not giving you words you want to hear, like they're being rude about it, you're gonna feel like crap and you don't want to do it again. Or if you do find somebody that you trust and then they go behind your back and they like tell other people, you're gonna feel hurt and betrayed. You wouldn't want to go through that pain again. So a lot of kids go through that and they just don't want to talk to anybody.
Kysso, do you want to answer that same question, or do you want to take another one?
I'll take another one.
Take another one? Okay. Let me see. What it says, so the question is here, this other part of the question, and that's from Melanie, wants to know, does talking about things personally make you feel better or worse, or it doesn't do anything better or worse for the situation? When you have something on your heart, in your heart, does it feel better to talk about it or just ignore it for you?
It's always better to talk about it. The more you let it sit there, the more it pains you. Because at some point in time, that what you've let sit there is gonna come back to you, and all those emotions that you've been trying to hide, it's just gonna come soaring in again. So talk about it, open up about it. I I guess what Maria said makes a lot of point. It gets scary for kids to really talk about it, open up, because they're scared of saying something to somebody and then have that other person open it up to everybody. So yeah, but it's always better to talk about it. If it's not okay, I'm a religious person, so if I don't have nobody, I always talk to God. Um, but yeah, it's find a friend, find a uncle, find a cousin, anybody like that, teacher. Really open up, just talk about it, let your emotions out, because you don't know what type of advice they might have for you.
I feel like sometimes people like you should talk about it, but like, what are you gonna do after you talk about it? You feel me? Like, what's gonna happen after you? Like, if I'm feeling sad, I'm telling you, I'm feeling sad because blah blah blah. You feel me? Like, yeah, they could be there for me, but like, that sadness is still gonna be there afterwards. You feel me? So like, how am I gonna be able to like fix myself, and how am I gonna come back with it? Like, you should create like a plan to get over it, not get over it, but like just to move along with it and not let it keep dragging you back, and just allow it to like fuel you to keep moving forward.
So, Louis, I kind of want to ask you a question, like, because you said, what are we supposed to do after we talk about it? So do you kind of feel like sometimes just talking about it isn't enough, that you need more support?
Yeah, it depends the situation. Like, if it's all my bike broke or something like that, and you're sad and like you want somebody to talk about, like, after you get it off your chest like that, that's not something you should like. So I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but that's not something you should really like. Oh my God, that was my favorite bike in the whole world. I don't know what to do. You feel me? Like, that's not situations where you drag it out that long, and like you could tell somebody about it and they'll be like, oh yeah, bro, you got it, blah, 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 and then that's it, and move on with your day. But like, if it's like a family loss or something like that, like, you need to talk about it, get it off your chest, and do something about it. Like, my aunt, like, she went through like my uncle's passing and stuff like that, but like, she knows what's wrong with her, and she knows like, yeah, it affects her, but like now she's like kind of using that as an excuse to keep doing the negative things that she's doing, instead of really seeing that problem and be like, all right, he wouldn't want me doing this or something like that. Like, how am I gonna talk to somebody and then move forward past the situation and be able to move forward and grow and like carry on the legacy that they left behind or something like that. Just keep moving forward. But like, I feel like you do need to talk to somebody and not bottle it in, because like Cairo said, it's gonna come back to you and it's gonna haunt you.
Thank you. So we have a question for Miss Nieisha specifically, and they said, are there any free telehealth resources?
That is a great question. So last year I attended a conference with Taraji P. Henson. She founded an organization called Boris Lawrence Henderson Foundation after her father, who had PTSD. He was a war vet. And she was having a hard time finding a therapist who was culturally competent. So she started this foundation last year. And this year, what they are doing in the wake of COVID is that they are offering free culturally competent therapy sessions. I think it's 3 per person. So if you just Google Boris Lawrence Henderson Foundation, you will go to their website, and then you can sign up for a session with a therapist for free. And I wonder if there's a place where I can share another resource that was posted in Essence magazine. I don't have it handy right now, but maybe there's a place that I could share with you, Julia, or Naesoj, or within the link. Within the comments, I can share it on Facebook when I go on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to also add as well that I'm part of a group practice with all clinicians of color, and we do offer at least 3 sessions free. We had, put it out there for a while and had offered, as a matter of fact, we had initially started offering 8 sessions for free. Um, but we had dropped it down to 3 when the numbers started to really go up in terms of our limited number of clinicians. But um, also, when you're looking for a health professional, whether it be telehealth or, one, if things get back into place and in person, it's important to make sure the person is a good match. Because when you are in a space where you're being vulnerable and sharing things with personal information with people or any therapist that you may not know, it's important that you know who is providing you with some sense of safety, some sense of comfort, and those kinds of things. So that's important. I know sometimes young people, feel a little bit more freer, I think, in terms of reaching out without knowing who it is, but also you want to make sure that whoever you're reaching out to is providing you with services that is going to be helpful and not harmful in any way. So that's really important too, as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gill. And I just want to thank everybody that joined us today. This was such an immense and diverse conversation with so many great resources that were offered and so many great experiences. And just like we do on all the calls, I just want to ask you guys, we're going to go around and basically close out. So I'm going to ask.
That we're going to close out, and then we have a big surprise to announce. So don't tune out, people. Don't think because we're doing closing remarks, y'all don't leave yet. We got something for y'all.
So so we're going to go around and ask everybody just like one piece of advice that you may have for the youth during this time. And we can start with Gigi.
Piece of advice is to continue to find yourself and be productive within yourself and just feel good.
Thank you so much, Louis.
Piece of advice is just notice the people that's around you and notice, like, with the adultism and the child thing, like, remember to if your parents is nagging you and on your behind for doing certain things and just on your case for like things that you think are dumb and stuff like that, like, just know that they're doing it out of love and it's not just because they want to just be annoying and stuff like that. You're gonna notice it later on in life and stuff like that. Like, I never thought I'd be saying that ever in my life. I never thought I'd be saying that, but it is what it is.
Thank you so much, Kysso.
For the people that are sitting at home and not doing nothing, find a new hobby, explore yourself, do things. I know, like, I recently got into piano and stocks. Just don't sit and let yourself sit aboard and don't go on social media. Again, explore yourself, explore options. You don't know what you could be capable of doing and what new things you could be capable of.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Gayl.
Yeah, I just want to say that, it's an honor to sit in awe of these young people. So I didn't mind being quiet because I learned so much too as well. But I just want to leave you with this. If you can take this with you, these words. I saw it somewhere and I tend to share it a lot with folks. And it goes like this. If you can remember this, I am enough. Who I am is enough. What I do is enough. And what I have is enough. And you don't have to be anything else for anyone else, but to be yourself and know that who you are is enough. So I just want to leave you with that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gayl. Miss Nieisha.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that, I think one of the most important things that we have, that we possess, is our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with others. The relationships that I had literally saved my life. If it wasn't for my family and friends who were there for me during my depression and my suicide attempts, I would not be alive. So I hope that the youth and anyone else that's struggling, I hope that you can find your village, find a safe space with people that you can talk to about your feelings. I also want to let you guys know that healing is continual. Like, it does not stop. Um, your parents could be still healing. They might not realize some of the things that they might um, need to heal from past traumas. And we're all on that journey. And just because we're older doesn't mean that we have it figured out.
Thank you so much. And counselor, do you have any last words?
Facilitator, okay. No, just I'm so incredibly grateful to have had the opportunity to listen and to participate. And for young people, you all got this. I'm telling you, there's nothing that that y'all can't do. And just stay the course and reach out to your peers. You're not alone. There's always someone out there who you can call upon that would love to hear from you. So just reach out. And Naesoj, thank you so much for holding it down today. I'm really, like, I don't even need to be here anymore. You and Dr. Gayl got this. I'm just gonna be to the side. Thank you so much. I'm very proud of you and very grateful that you're a part of our team. Thank you, Naesoj.
Yeah. Thanks to Naesoj. Awesome job.
So now the big surprise that counselor mentioned, our office is launching a campaign that we're calling Continue to Talk. And what we're doing is we're having a raffle where you're going to be able to win $50 towards your phone bill. So right now we're gonna ask if you're between the ages 14 and 24 to please leave your name and email in the comment section so we can reach out to you if you win. But the people that comment right now between the ages 14 and 24 with your name and email, your name is going to go into a random selector and you may have a chance to win $50 towards your phone bill. So don't miss out on that. Also, that's not the only way you can win. You can fill out the application form linked in the QR code below. So make sure you take a screenshot of the screen right now, post on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram of how you're staying connected during COVID-19. Use the hashtag Continue to Talk and tag us at Julia for Boston on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all the above, and you can be entered to have up to $50 paid towards your phone bill. So please, please, please don't miss out on this opportunity. If you can't scan the QR code, you can also use the link right next to the QR code. And again, it's for ages 14 to 24. So if you're watching right now, please make sure you put your name and email so you can be entered into this raffle. Even the youth on this call.
Yeah. And the youth on this call too. And Naesoj, you want to, so what was, why are we doing this whole thing around continuing to talk? Because we were having a hard time trying to figure out the name. So you want to talk a little bit about the idea, how you came up with the hashtag?
Yes, so we did have a little of complication figuring out the name. We came up with hashtag Continue to Talk because we want the young people to stay engaged and continue to speak up on their feelings and continue to speak up, because right now this is really the time to do it, because this is when people are listening to us the most. And so that's how we came up with Continue to Talk. And it's kind of a play on words, because like talk, cell phone, continue to talk on the cell phone, but also in your communities and continue to speak up. So yeah, so we got a couple of names here.
Am I lagging? Is it my internet? Sometimes it's my internet. I see you, Gayl. Did I?
You were frozen, Naesoj.
I was frozen?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Sorry. I know a couple of people in the comment section, Brady, they're asking if we could put the flyer back on the screen.
Yeah, and we could drop the the URL, the link, the Google link, so that young people can fill it out now, right on the comment section. I'm gonna do the same on mine. I'm going live too on my Facebook. I'm gonna drop the.
And please also know, guys, that you can find this flyer on all of our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. But we're gonna put the link in the comment section right now. JNBW.
And if anyone is following my Facebook page, my Julia for Boston page, and my personal page, if you guys can go and get the link from my Julia for Boston account and drop it onto this Facebook thread that I'm going live on my personal. For some reason, I can't do both at the same time. I'm talking to my viewers, just in case you're wondering, like, in case you all were wondering who I'm talking to. Just so that way the people who are following, because we did have people who are following us here. They wanted you to know Cindy Diggs. It's really quick while we wait. Just wanted to let you know that Cindy Diggs said that MGH has a team in the Mother's Day Peace for Walk for Peace, and our goal is to raise money for peace play in urban settings. So if anyone's interested, please join the Mother's Day Walk for Peace.org, and the team is MGH. And then another thing too, that while we're doing announcements really quick, is that there's a lot of conversation around wearing a mask these days. So we wanted to just encourage young people. It's just really a face covering, right? To go outside and make sure that you have your face covered, whether you're using a handkerchief, or if you're using, you could even make a mask. There's different ways for you to be able to cover your face. So make sure that you're taking good care of yourself and others by covering your face up, okay? And Naesoj, we're gonna draw, are we gonna do we're gonna pick the names afterwards and then make an announcement?
Yeah, I figured, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, then that means whoever wins will be following up with y'all via email. And everyone who's also part of this conversation should enter to win. So make sure that you also drop your name in our Facebook page, and we pay $50 to your phone bill.
So I can drop my name too, Julia?
No, you're too old for that. I don't know. You got to be 14 to 24. Let me find out you're trying to get in there. There'll be none of that.
Sounds good. We've got all the names if you want to close this out.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you again, guys. So grateful to have you on this conversation, and looking forward to continuing the dialogue. Really, 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 really grateful. Have a beautiful night. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everything that you said here informs my thinking as a city councilor, and my hope is to try to make the world, well, our city, better than what it was before I got here. So y'all, thank you so much for keeping it 100 with us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Naesoj. Thank you, Dr. Gayl.
Thank you.
Thank you all, you amazing, beautiful young people. Really appreciate it. Have a beautiful night and stay blessed.
Nice talking to you.